Hello, my name is MooingCat and welcome to a video on how to use tools in the Halloween event. In this video, I will show how I use tools in this event based on a video I recorded from the beta server. Now, in addition to this video, I do also have a proper guide for this event where I cover things like the rewards, strategies, and all of that. So if you want to check that out, you will find that linked in the description. And also, in addition to the video guide, I also have a written guide on this event, which will also be linked in the description. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this video. And the way I will be doing it is that I will comment on how I played during the beta. I have this recording of me playing on beta. It is over 50 minutes long, but don't worry, I will not cover all of this. I will still upload all of this though. The way I played on beta, I split my currency into 3 chunks, and with each chunk I played with one certain strategy. In my guide I cover 3 different strategies on how to play this minigame. One where you focus on getting all the rewards on the board, one where you focus on light bulbs for the grand prizes, and one where you focus on pumpkins going for daily specials. So what I will be commenting on in this video is me focusing on getting all rewards, but I will also upload all of this video split into 3 different videos where I show all of what I did for the 3 different strategies. So you can check those videos out if you're interested. I will not comment on those, but you have them if you want to. So without further ado, let's start, and let's start with this situation. So I could have gone for the light bulb here, but instead I used a candle here first, with the hope of potentially using a lantern to pick up that, and in this case, one more reward. So that doesn't always happen. If there wasn't any other reward behind here, I probably just would have used a candle to pick it up and then moved ahead from here. But in this case, I was able to pick both of these up with one tool, with the lantern, which I think was quite nice. Here, definitely could have used a flashlight if I wanted to, but I decided to use a lantern again. One of the benefits of using a lantern is that you, in addition to getting or unlocking a lot of tiles, you also move ahead in the game, which is something you want to do to get more tiles. So here I did use the lantern. Now nothing really interesting, so when there's nothing interesting, in general you just want to use candles to move ahead to the right side of the board like this. Here again, picked up that. I think this was a nice opportunity to use a flashlight to get all of those. And here I uncovered quite a lot of rewards. I decided to go for the lantern here, but you could also, depending on your balance here, have used candles to pick up both of these individually. So yeah, in terms of balancing, you generally want to keep your tools quite balanced. In general, a little bit over twice as many candles as flashlights and lanterns is ideal. It will fluctuate a bit, but try to aim for that at least. Anyways, so I used the lantern here, and then for this here, not really any other option than to use a candle, and then just moved ahead in the board, just continue to move ahead. Here, I think this is quite a nice opportunity again to use a flashlight to uncover information on the bottom here. Picked up a pumpkin, that was nice. So yeah, and then I moved ahead, and something that's probably quite obvious, but when you do move ahead like this, and you have different options on where to move ahead, if one of them does have a reward, always use that to move ahead. Anyways, so I moved ahead. I could have used a flashlight here, but it's much better to move ahead and then use one like this. Now I got information on both sides, and I did indeed get a reward on both sides. So I again decided to use a lantern. You definitely could have used 2 candles as well. That would have been perfectly fine as well. This is one of my least favorite situations. Here you have a few options. You could use a flashlight. It's not great, but you do uncover that and can move ahead either on top or bottom here. You could use a lantern to move ahead here to remove both of these at the same time. Or you can use candles either to go below or to go above. I decided to use candles to go above. Not sure if I would do it again, but that's what I ended up doing. And here, again, I think we have a good situation of when to use a lantern. Not only do you pick up that reward, you uncover some information on both sides, or all of these 3 sides, and you move ahead in the minigame, in the board, to the right. So I think that's a good combination of benefits. Nothing really hidden behind there, but was worth a shot, I think. Now here, in this situation, definitely use a flashlight to get both of these. Or if there wasn't any pumpkins here, I probably would have used one more candle to go here and then use a flashlight to get all of these. Another alternative would be to go one further and then use a lantern. I think all of those are fine. But yeah, here I decided to use a flashlight. And here we have a good situation of when not to use a flashlight. In situations like this, it might be tempting to use a flashlight to remove all of these tiles, but you're much better off doing what I do here. First using a candle to move one further ahead and then use a flashlight. That way, instead of simply getting information about these tiles, you actually get those tiles and information on the next column as well. So much better. Nothing really exciting behind there, but still a better option. And then just continue, move ahead. In general, I like to move ahead in the middle when I get the option. So I moved ahead in the middle here. Again here. And here, I think this is a nice place to use a flashlight to get a lot of information. Here we have another example of what I did early on. Instead of picking up this pumpkin immediately, I instead use a candle first here, with the idea that I can now use a lantern here to get all of these at the same time. Here I decided to instead use a flashlight on this because I get a lot of, or open a lot of tiles, get some nice information on how to continue, if it's up here or down here. In this case, I did have rewards on both sides here, so I did end up using a lantern here. Could also have used candles for sure, but yeah, that's what I did. Picked up this straggling pumpkin and then moved ahead. Here, again, I think that's a nice way to use a flashlight. Get a lot of information by doing so. Found this reward here, so I was able to use a lantern to pick up both of these. Here, I, instead of picking up this immediately, I instead move ahead. And by doing so, I again think about using a lantern to pick up this with some other rewards. Again, it paid off. Again, I was able to get all of these now with in one go with the lantern, so that was very nice. Here, nothing really interesting. I don't think it is worth discovering or checking out what these have. I think it's better to just move ahead. In this scenario, I think it's best to do it if you have a situation like this where there's only a one tile space there. I think it's best to go forward that direction, because I don't think it is possible for there to be a wall or a blockage behind here. I think that will always be open when there's only one tile like this. If you did it up here, you could be blocked on either here or here. So I think that's the best way to do it, because I can't remember ever seeing there being a block behind here when there's a one tile space. Anyways, I used a flashlight to get a lot of information. Here, I could have used a lantern to get both of these. I didn't. I don't think it was would be best. So yeah, I used a candle. Again, you had to use a candle here. Here, I suppose I could have used a flashlight here, and then with the idea of using a lantern here, but instead I used another candle here and then used a flashlight. Now in this situation, I did actually get quite lucky. Here I was able to use a lantern here to pick up both of these at the same time. If that wasn't possible, I would have just used a candle to pick up the straggling light bulb like that. Anyways, so here I moved ahead a little bit. Now my idea with moving ahead before going for that was perhaps the idea of using a flashlight here and then possibly a lantern here to get that and that. I didn't end up doing that because in this scenario I thought it would be better to just pick that up with a candle and then use a flashlight here to not only pick up this pumpkin but get a lot of information on top and bottom here, and also to move ahead and get a lot of information moving forward. So yeah, I think that was quite a nice idea. In general, when you do see a candle with one or two fog tiles behind it, just go for it. Even if you use one candle to get one candle back, you don't lose anything, and you might, like this, reveal some nice information. Still, I went back here to pick up these two light bulbs. And here, again, instead of picking up the pumpkin immediately, I decided to first go for the lantern, then use a flashlight here, and then I was lucky again, and I was able to use a lantern to pick up both of these at the same time. I might have done it regardless if there wasn't any reward here, or you could also have used two candles as well. That's perfectly fine. I don't really agree with my choice of using a lantern here. I think it would have been better to perhaps first use a candle and then the lantern, pick up the candle and then these tiles as well. It is what it is. Here I moved ahead. I think that's quite nice. Here again, I think it would have been better to move ahead first one more tile and then use a lantern to grab that reward, but also more going forward. But yeah, it's all right, I suppose. Anyways, now I just moved ahead. I don't think it's worth uncovering these. Better to just move ahead, get some more tiles, new and fresh tiles. So yeah, nothing really worth pointing out here. Used a flashlight here to get that reward and also some information. Nice pumpkin there. Here, you can go either here or up there, doesn't really matter. Now in this situation, you can definitely use a flashlight here. That would have been perfectly fine. You get both of these rewards. Toys are good to go for regardless. So that's an option. I decided to use a lantern to get all of these three at the same time, and it also allows me to show you a pattern that I wouldn't say I get it often, but I do get it every now and then during my playthrough. So I first use a lantern here, and that means that here I have quite a nice place to use another lantern. So I decided to use another lantern. Not only did I pick up this reward, I also unlocked quite a bit of information about these other tiles. So I did it again. And then again here, we have another nice area where you can use a lantern, uncover a lot of information, and in this case, get two rewards like this. So quite a nice diagonal. That does happen, again, occasionally, not that much, but every now and then I am able to use 2 or 3 lanterns right after each other, either in a diagonal upwards or downwards. So yeah, it's an interesting pattern to recognize. So here I used a flashlight to get information about how best to continue. Nothing exciting. Oh, a little bit exciting actually. So yeah, now I decided to just move ahead, going here. Again, I don't pick that up immediately. I go one forward, and again in this case use a lantern to pick up both at the same time and move ahead. Again here I use a lantern. I think that's all right. Depending on what you have, you could also just use the candles. But yeah. And here, again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I do use this candle to pick up a candle. There might be something behind here. In this case there wasn't, but it doesn't hurt trying. So here, I move forward and then go back with a lantern. Perhaps it wasn't the optimal, perhaps just pick it up with a candle and then move up, but it's alright, I think. So yeah, here, perfect example of where to use a flashlight, get a lot of tiles, get a lot of information. Here, again, use a lantern to get tiles or to get rewards on both sides. Here, again, I don't pick it up immediately. I move ahead with a candle, which again allows me to use a lantern to pick up 2 rewards at the same time and move forward. So here, again, I don't pick this up immediately. I move forward, use a flashlight. And here, again, I'm able to use a lantern to pick up rewards on both sides. So yeah, here moving forward. I could have used a flashlight. Perhaps I would if I were in the same situation, but here I decided to use a candle and move ahead with candles. This definitely was a good place to use a flashlight, but here, nothing really better, I think, than to use candles to move forward. Then as we get here, this is quite a nice area again to use a flashlight. You get or unlock or remove all of these and get information on both sides. So very nice. Here, I think quite a nice area to use the lantern to get both of these pumpkins and this light bulb. Here, pick up this. I could potentially have gone here and the flashlight here, but I think it was quite alright to use a candle here instead, because a flashlight here wouldn't have done too much. Again, I don't pick this up immediately, instead move ahead. Here I can use a lantern. I'm not sure if I do or not. I did, okay. So yeah, you could have used just a candle instead. Not sure what's best. Perhaps it would have been better to just use a candle. But yeah, in any case. So now just move ahead. Here, quite a nice area for a flashlight. Here, a single light bulb there. So I did go for the daily sticker here. That was because of my beta testing. Depending on if you go for the calendar or not, you would just ignore that. But yeah, that's up to you. So, okay, so here's a similar situation to what I talked about quite early on in the video, where you are kind of blocked by a wall, and to get around it, you have either here 2 tiles on top or 2 tiles on bottom here in this case. So here's another possible way to solve that, to use a lantern. Not sure if it was the best move here, but yeah, I ended up doing it. Allowed me to also use a lantern here. Again, not sure if I would have done it, depending on your balancing here. Perhaps it's better to just use a candle here to move ahead. But yeah, in the past I have had a tendency to overuse my candles, these tools here. So I do perhaps tend to, perhaps I've gone the other way now and overuse my other tools, but still. So here I think this is a good place to use a flashlight. By doing so, I also know where to move forward. That's up here with the pumpkin. Unfortunately, I hit a wall, so yeah, just continued somewhere else. I could have used a flashlight here, but better to move ahead once, and then either use a flashlight or, like here, a lantern to get to both of these at the same time. Here it might have been worth going for these rewards at the top, but I decided not to. Here is another quite common situation. Again, you could use 2 candles to move forward here, but I like using a lantern. You actually also unlock that. So often in this specific pattern, you unlock that and then use a flashlight here, and this one is already opened. In this case, nothing behind it, but we do have a light here. So here I decided to use a flashlight. Could have also used a lantern here. I do have a few more flashlights, so here I decided to use the flashlight. Picked up this straggling here. I used a candle to get the candle, so nothing won or nothing gained, but there could have been something interesting hiding behind here. Anyways, so I take the pumpkin. Perhaps I could have taken this first and perhaps use a flashlight here, but no. Another good example of using the lantern is to, again, move kind of around a single block tile like this. Not only do you move forward, you uncover information on both the top and bottom side. If, for example, I only went on the top side here, I would have not found these rewards down here. So again, I think a lantern makes perfect sense here. You get both of these rewards and you move forward in the minigame. Here, yeah, just move ahead with candles, I think. Another situation where you could have used a lantern. In this case, I didn't. You remember previously there was a reward here. If that was the case, I probably would have used a lantern, but I didn't. Here, definitely could have used a flashlight as well. Perhaps I would have done that in the future, especially considering the balancing here. Oh, actually I do. Never mind. So yeah, use a lantern again. And again, we have a similar situation to before. Instead of going for this immediately with the flashlight, we use a candle first and then take this out. And now potentially we can use, yeah, there we go. We can use a lantern here to get both of these at the same time. And here I first check out that, and now I can decide where to move forward. That, yeah, it doesn't really matter where. All right, so I've been going on for 19 minutes now. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So hopefully this was a nice way of kind of explaining how I use my tools. So instead of just a few hypothetical situations, kind of a more complete gameplay of how I use my tools. Yeah, instead of a few separate examples. So hopefully this was helpful. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, in addition to this video, I also have a proper guide on the event where I go over strategies and so on. In that video, yeah, you will see a little bit more on a lot more on the different strategies, rewards, and all of that. So check that out if you are interested. In that video, I also have, I also have a written version of that guide. Anyways, that's it for this video, but before I end, let me thank my Patreons for their support. I would like to thank Homestar, Fort Prefect, Lorden, Rockenoven, Kim Cayley, Rolf the 8th, PQ the Goat, Dan Suminat, JT, The Rev, Merrick B, Hugo Kant von Count, Jan Fredriksen, Jutta Denves, Filda, Rush, Susan Weiss, Megarock, Rocco, Eric, Martin Emrys, Henrik Klabe, Mattia, Opshitty Obsessed, Raf, Kim, Odaril, Mike, Wolfboy, Flavius Belisarius, and Atomic. Thanks a lot for your support, thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.